views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Reina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. We begin with an inaugural event that will celebrate and honor differences and similarities that bind a community together. Following that, we'll talk with the founder and president of a unique fashion blog that aims to educate and empower women of all backgrounds. And then we sit down with author Tommy Donovan of The Rail to learn more about his memoir about growing up in the Bronx. And later on in the show, Bobby C updates us with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And finally, we speak with licensed psychotherapist, author, and TV radio personality, Alexa Servoldirio, to learn about finding peace within chaos. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is coming your way because now we are officially open. Hello and welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Reina Valentin, your host, Café con Leche, for the next hour. You know, we're always inviting you to get social with us online. That's right, mi gente. Tweet us on and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, you know, the drill. Don't forget to follow me too while you're there on Twitter, Instagram, FB, and Snapchat at Reina Valentin. All right, so our first guest, we're leading right into the show. He's actually the coordinator of an inaugural event, and he hopes that it's actually going to become a safe place for individuals who have come out or are struggling with their identity, and that would be TMI, Touched, Moved, and Inspired, and it celebrates a community of different races, cultures, genders, and sexual orientations. And here now to tell us more about TMI is the coordinator, Victor John Villanueva. Hello and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I love the t-shirt.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful, beautiful logo.
Yeah, this was designed by a friend of mine, Zapung Shu, and he thought that it was the most inappropriate logo for our event.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, it has signs of innuendo.
There are things happening here. Yeah, but then we have on the back, we have the entire name of the event. So
Touch, Move, and Inspired. Beautiful.
Touch, Moved, and Inspired. Yep.
All right. So what inspired you to come up with this event?
So actually, this idea was inspired by a friend of mine named Rob, who is coming out of the closet right now. He is a married man. He's married to a woman, and he has a 14-year-old daughter, and he has really taken many strides in coming out of the closet just as we speak. He's currently
This is the person that's from Staten Island that has been married 10 years. I did my research. So
okay.
I got the scoop on that one. And I'm like, yeah,
cool.
That's heavy. That's interesting.
It's really interesting, but I'm immensely proud of him. He's really made amazing, he's had so much growth just in the last couple of months, in the last couple of weeks even, in reaching out to his former Army colleagues and his former work colleagues.
Okay, so here's a question I have for you, right? We live in a society that really just needs to come to terms with everybody. Love is love. Love is love.
Of course.
And how is it that is a person born a certain way or does a person become a certain way? I'm just curious about this, right? Because here's this man who was married for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's now coming out, which in some form kind of says in my head right away, I go, well, wow, this person's been torturing himself. It's been living in this self-tortured state for all these years.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little more insight?
Yeah. I mean, I think that we are all born perfect the way that we are. I also think that, repression is real. I think that society and the sort of influences and the expectations are definitely real. And sometimes that weighs really heavily on somebody. And I know specifically in his case, he felt like he needed to live up to other people's ideals and other people's expectations of who he was. But for myself, as a gay man, I mean, doing this project and really putting this event together has made me look into my own life. And, I'm playing with the idea of maybe I'm coming out as, maybe I'm coming out as bi at the event. I don't think I am, but I've always recognized myself to be a gay man. But I guess the point is to always keep an open mind, always be open to what the possibility could be.
Maybe I'll come out. Was that?
Maybe
did
I will,
have something
maybe
to
I
do with
won't.
that? Did I have something to do that? Because I have a conversion effect on people. I can't help myself. I'm just saying.
It's the red nail polish. Yeah.
Of course you would notice that.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the red nail polish.
It's the red nail polish.
Right. So, no, this is great. I think what you're designing is great because while its origins are based on coming out from the gender, there's also mixed cultures and there's a multiracialism component to it.
Yes,
so just
of
share
course.
a little bit about what
So-
anyone would expect visiting this
Sure.
event.
I mean, I'm a lifelong Inwood resident. I've lived there my entire life, and there are a lot of different kinds of people living in the neighborhood. I'm Filipino American. I mean, there are people from a huge Dominican population, obviously. I grew up with a lot of Irish people. The event is all inclusive and all welcoming for, as you said earlier, no matter where you are on the spectrum of sexual identity, but also no matter where you come from, you're welcome to come. And it is, first and foremost, I believe it's going to be a party. It is a party. We're going to have a DJ. DJ Neverland Music is going to be spinning the beats, and we have a lot of food donated by local restaurants, a lot of food and drink. So that's going to be enjoyed as well. And we have artists. We have a person named Carlo Quispe from Washington Heights Arte and Comics, and it's going to be a great time. At the center of the event, however, we're going to have people share about coming out of the closet and what that meant for them and their struggles and triumphs with doing that. So it's going to be a great time, and I really hope that it not only serves to give people a voice of where they are and coming out, or if they've already come out, how proud they are, but also, just be all-inclusive of all the members of the community.
That's wonderful. It's refreshing considering what we've just all
Exactly.
we just all had to
Right.
experience.
Right.
And I just wanted to tap into that a little bit and let's talk just a little bit.
Yeah,
We don't
just a
have
little
much
bit.
time
Sure.
about the Orlando massacre and the impact it's had on your community.
Yeah. So when Orlando happened, this event had already been in full swing in terms of planning. And, for a split second there, after it happened, obviously it was shocking and very sad. But, in those kinds of instances, you have a flight or fight reaction, right? Mm-hmm. And for a split second, it was, oh my gosh, I'm going to be very visible, and I'm creating this event in the neighborhood, and what could happen? But then that just disappeared,
Right.
And I felt more encouraged to be who I am, and more, vindicated in this event, in this purpose. So we're gonna have a really happy, really festive event, and I've gotten a lot of support from the Latino community in Inwood. A lot of stores, a lot of restaurants have really shown their support with donations for the silent auction and food for our guests. And it is a nonprofit. It is a we're generating money for an event, a conference taking place at the at the beginning of October, and that event is a conference called In My Mind, and it's specifically centered around the mental health of LGBT people of color.
Yay!
So, yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Because you know what? You just tapped into something that I've been saying to everyone. It's like we're all focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
The real issue within the United States is mental health.
Yeah.
It's mental health.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm teaming up with a person named Antoine Caldwell from depressedblackmales.org, and he is putting together an amazing conference, and it's going to cover, again, the mental health of, of LGBT people, specifically people of color.
That's wonderful. So so in addition to honoring and celebrating who we are in identity, it's actually contributing to a bigger cause.
Oh, for sure.
And of course, paying it forward. Paying it forward, 'cause that's what it's all about.
Yeah, education and party.
Yeah, of course we have to add
We
the
got to have the
party.
party.
What's
Yeah.
education without
Yeah.
edutainment?
Yeah,
honey?
that's
It's
why I
gotta
know
be-
that you're going to be there. You're going to have a great time, and you're going to give us some of your TMI.
Oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
would love to. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the VIP treatment.
Of
right
course.
back down. Okay, I'm just like, thank you so much for
Thank
being here
you.
with us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great work. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Rita.
And once again, the Touch, Moved, and Inspired will be taking place on Saturday, June 25th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Bread and Yoga, located on 5000 Broadway at 212th Street. And for more information, you can email Victor at 3ptline.com. Victor at the number 3ptline.com. We are taking a short break, but we'll have more open when we return.
Are you looking for something to do this summer? If you're a middle school student at any of these schools, you may qualify to participate in the Bronx Gear Up Network Summer Academy at no cost to you or your family. From July 5th to August 5th, participants in the Bronx Gear Up Summer Academy study science and math or humanities on the campuses of Lehman College and Fordham University. Students participate in engaging educational field trips and workshops at the New York Botanical Garden, Wave Hill, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Lehman College Art Gallery. For more information, talk to the Academic College Readiness Coach at your school and sign up today. Remember, education is the key to your future.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew she was special.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, we're always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV and tweet me while you're there at Reina Valentin. We're going to talk a little fashion now. Bellas Fashionistas. Yeah, it's actually a fashion blog about the empowered Latina whose confidence is shown through her style and fashion. Well, their goal, however, is to empower and educate not only Latinas, but the community as a whole through inspirational stories and life experiences. Here now to tell us more about Bellas Fashionistas is the blog's founder and president, Flericer Bello, right? Is Bello? Hello, welcome.
Bello. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Wow, I wonder how life must have been for you growing up with a name like Bello. I mean, it's like, it's affirmed, you know? It's affirmed, so it's nice of you to pass it on to, I guess, the next generation and all the ladies visiting your blog. Tell us a little bit about your blog.
So our fashion blog focuses on empowering Latinas. The reason where the creation came was was because I noticed that there weren't or aren't many, I would say, celebrities or any women that have been highlighted to prove and show how they have escalated and grow, I would say, more professionally than anything else, and how that could be an empowerment or a role model, or they could be seen as a role model for our Latino community. So that's why I had discovered this and created it.
So how long has the blog been up?
The blog has been functioning since 2014.
Since 2014, I visited it, and I noticed that you have like women who are established do videos. Your girl Dianari Martinez, she's out there on the field, boy. She works hard, that one. Right? So like, oh, there she is again. There she is again. And no, but it's really great what you're capturing. It's great. And while yes, the title itself is a Latino title and it's in Spanish, I can see why it's really about just empowering women. We just happen to be Latina, right?
Absolutely. And what better way to do that through the platform of fashion, correct?
Right. We all love fashion.
We all love fashion.
It's a woman thing.
So the Yanira is one of the editors. She has been, she's a journalist herself, and she also has a show in a Dominican channel. But I was able to gather a group of Latinas, not only Latina, but women in general, to be able to focus and bring in from their style and viewpoints to be able to incorporate how we could be able to motivate, and not only motivate, but to be able to encourage, right? We have escalated certain, a level of professionalism that we want to be able to not only highlight those levels of professionalism, but let the youth know that it's not easy, but you could do it.
Well, you know, I think it's important, right? And we're going to start having this conversation, especially being a Latina, that, you know, there's this impression that everything tight is what's fashionable. And you know what? You don't have to wear tight clothes to look fabulous. You really don't. You don't have to wear tight clothes to, you don't have to show cleavage to be sexy. There's a lot of things that within our particular community, it's kind of like, I mean, I'm not giving up the red lipstick. That's the one thing I'm not giving up. I just want to say that. I'm like, red lipstick, no, that's the one thing I'm not giving up.
You can't give up red lipstick. It's because red brings out the essentialism in woman as a whole. Even like red polish or
I know
red
everybody's
clothing.
noticing my nails today. Okay.
But I think that what we want to highlight is because I don't think there's that many women that I mean, let's take for example Kim Kardashian and Rihanna, like really. And that's what our youth are looking up to.
I know, it's
and
unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
But there's more than that. There's these women that have escalated the corporate ladder. There's entrepreneurial women. There's Latina that not only have to show their cleavage to get to where they want, to achieve and escalate new, I would say professionally. Right? Because that's what we are seen as, or even African American women, right?
Yes.
So no, we are not going to bring this to action. We're going to bring in those women that have all these type of positions that. I have a friend, right? For example, she's one of the person that was highlighted. She started working at the Yankees as a coordinator, and then she became to be a director. And and we highlighted that,
right? Because
she had escalated and she grew within her time.
Right.
I have other friends that came.
And she looked fabulous doing it. That's the whole point.
Yes. And they because fashion.
But professionally.
Correct.
Right.
But professionally, there's other women that have escalated to become.
And professional doesn't mean that you have to wear a suit either. Tampoco. I'm going with you with the fashion, right? Because I was looking at your blog and I'm going, I like the empowerment aspect, and I saw the women. We know Dawn Diaz. We've had Dawn Diaz. Yes. I was actually the first madrina of the Milagros Walk.
Really?
Yes.
I was there.
Yes.
I was the one that coordinated.
Yeah, I was the first madrina, the first one that.
Right, in 2012.
Yeah, I guess I was there. I'm like, eesh,
I was there.
Don't quote me on years.
How come I don't remember you? That is so funny.
I was the one with the indigenous style dress, and I had a sash that said madrina. How could you not see me?
I was the coordinator. How could I miss you? But then again, of course, that was 4 years ago? So let's be clear. We don't remember anything. How bad is that? Let's just play it like that.
It's all good. It's all good, though. It's all good. The idea is that we're coming full circle, and we're associated with the same women who are out there sending out that same message,
And there's so many
with the motivational speaking, and of course looking fabulous and looking stylish in the process. I was checking out your gear, because I'm like, I always get nervous when I have fashion bloggers. I'm like, are they going to be looking
your
at me?
Your hair is intact,
like,
your makeup is intact, but you're Latina, so that's what describes Latina, right?
Right.
We are taught to always be prepared.
Right.
And we are taught to always look nice. Like my aunt always told to me, your nail has to be done, your hair, before you leave your house, fix your hair.
Right. Yes,
Even my mom, where's your makeup? I said, Mom.
Yeah. No, and you're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
So
Likewise.
thank you. We're just gonna sit here and compliment each other, everybody. No, okay. But the conversation really that we're having today is, and I hope that for those of you watching, that you don't really need to wear the tight jeans and the, what do they call those lower things, that the ones that, whatever that style, low riders, yeah, eso mismo, the low riders, you know, with the chichos hanging out. You know, it's like, even if you don't have chichos, it's, for me, it's still not sexy. You don't really need to reveal all of that to, I guess, feel good about yourself, right? I work with a lot of young ladies and individuals, and we had an event that we needed to attend a couple of days ago, and both of them, one came in with a really short skirt, and the other one came with this long thing, and to them, they thought they looked professional. She had her abs out and everything. I'm like, you know, I got to tell you, ladies, you know, I could walk around like that too, but I'm not really looking for that kind of attention, right? And so I think the conversation that we're having loans itself to that, and I hope for those that are watching understand it's not about judgment. It's just about how you want people to perceive you.
Correct. And you know, my father was the one that taught me this is the way that you have to dress if you're going to work in corporate America. And that's something that I've been working since I was 15. And he was the one that taught me how to dress. Don't wear it too tight and don't wear it too loose. It has to be fitted.
Right. I'm not a corporate America type of individual. I wear all kinds of crazy stuff. I have a Piccadilly style, but I would like to think that my style is unique without being too revealing, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll wear evening gowns, you know, show the sign de vez en cuando, you know. But in general, it isn't necessary to have to show everything you got.
No, it's not. No.
And again, with that also comes this question of how you think of yourself and what you feel about yourself, because that's how can I say, that is the
Keeps you whole.
Well, it does keep you whole, but I'm talking about like your
self-identity.
Your outside is a representation of your inside. There's a term I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. So, and saving time and not fishing for it, the idea is that, you know, what you show and is how you perceive yourself, and of course, in turn, how the rest of the world will perceive you.
And that's very important, and you know, and it says that in I'm Christian, and I not only do I sit down with the youth on a one-to-one basis, and I try to direct them. Well, from my experience learning, you know, everyone, when I was in my teenage years, I had people that would always, you know, guide me. So what better way to pay it back to the youth that do not have any direction, don't know where to sit down. And you know, a lot of my team members also do that. And what better way to do that, to keep on moving it forward. So I think that that's very important.
It is important.
I think it's very important because a lot of the times we don't know where we're headed, but only God knows, right? And there's a destiny for each and one of us, but He always connects us to the proper like people, so they could be able to be in our lives temporarily, permanently, or seasonal.
Right. That's the way it
know,
goes. And it's
what
nice
better
that
way to do that.
No, it's nice that you have a platform that they can actually go and reference on their own time and scroll through at their leisure and figure out what it is that they can obtain to assist them on their journey.
And how could they identify their stories with our stories? I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to become where you are today. There was a process, and the process, no one wants to pay the price.
No.
Everyone wants everything microwave, right?
Well, they see the glam style. I'm like, oh yeah, I just poof. TV came to me. They're wrapping me up. Ay.
They didn't know that. They did not know that there was, you know, training. It was very hard. It was a process to be where you are, or even for me to be where I am today. It was a process, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. There's a process for each one of those executive entrepreneurial women to be where they are. They started interning, then they went to school, then they got training.
There's a process, but they were able to build up.
They were able
to build up and get to a destination. And you showcase those ladies on your website. I'm sorry, Florista. They're wrapping me up. They're seriously wrapping. They came in and hard wrapped me. And I could sit here and talk about this all day. But I just wanted, before we go, I just want to make sure that people know where to go to read more on this wonderful blog that you designed.
So they could go to www.bellasfashionistas.com. They could also follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, on Facebook, and also on Instagram.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. I wish we could have stayed longer. Pero I'm sorry, mi gente. I know you were interested too. Pero to stay up to date with the latest with Bella Fashionistas blog, you can go to bellafashionistas.com. We are taking a quick break, but when we come back, we'll speak to author of The Rails, so stay tuned.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Open. The Rail is actually a story of Tommy Donovan, son of an Irish immigrant growing up through the hardships in the Bronx, following his journey through addiction and struggles to heal from a painful childhood. Here now to tell us more about The Rail is author Tommy Donovan. Hello and welcome. I wish I would have gotten the book before we had this interview, but it's okay. I'm happy to receive your, I guess, interpretation, being the author, even though
this
it's
is your gift.
Oh, this is for me awesome. This is great. I will say I did read a little bit about. I read the synopsis on it and a little bit of your bio, and it's really brave of you to put it in writing somewhere where it's documented. That is almost stripping yourself and sharing it with the world. So just share a little bit about that.
The process I went through was really one of trying to write a love story about the neighborhood I grew up in. This special Bronx neighborhood that was founded on cooperation and democracy and good housing for garment workers coming out of the East Side.
Okay, so what year are we talking about? Because
This is way back in the 20s.
Right. Wow.
So I plopped down there in the 50s
Right.
from an Irish neighborhood in Washington Heights. My parents are divorced, and I'm in that neighborhood, and I have to navigate all the Jewish holidays. I mean, I go to school on Rosh Hashanah, nobody's there,
Right.
except me.
Right. That's interesting, right?
And then
Did you feel displaced?
I did. I felt very alienated and I felt like an outsider.
Uh-huh.
But I was also in a community of outsiders because the Jewish community had just suffered World War II and the Holocaust.
Right.
And then on top of all this, by the time I'm 14 and 15, the 60s are exploding, right? The Beatles come to America, the Vietnam War is going on, civil rights is exploding, women's rights. So I'm trying to capture all this alchemy and all these threads that are informing the world at that time by telling my personal story through all of that. So that's what I'm trying to capture in there.
Well, so it's a time capsule.
That's a great description, actually. It is a time capsule. And I'm hoping that not only people my age will read it and have memories, but younger people will read it too and see some hope there. Because I went from drug addiction to now I have a PhD in psychology and I teach at a university. So the possibilities, even out of the darkest moments, to do something different. But I also have to say, and I have to again pay homage to my community, I couldn't have done any of this without the support of many angels and allies in that neighborhood.
So he keeps referencing this book, and what I'm getting, right, just in your reference, is that this is a really huge part of who you are.
Correct.
Now, you just kind of laid it out. You're like, oh, I have a PhD, I'm a professor, and yet you could still be honest and say, I went through all these hardships. It's a story about humanity. It's a story from your perspective. And so just with everything that's going on, I just want to dive a little further into it and just comparing the years that we live in this day and age versus the day and age that this story is referencing. How do you feel that we are a lot more segregated now? Even having felt like an outcast. And I think I'm really referencing love more than anything because there's this sense of embracement that still exists, but I just feel like the news doesn't really capture that.
No, it doesn't. It seems like the news captures divisiveness.
Yes.
And that maybe is their bread and butter. And thank goodness for places like BronxNet that doesn't do that.
Thank you.
No, really.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But you know, I think we're really trying as a human species. You know, when I was growing up, what did I see on TV? I saw hoses and police dogs on black people in the South. You know, people being beaten, people being assassinated. And we still have some of that, and yet we continue to try to reach for the sun of our humanity in these various different ways. Like your earlier guest Victor said, after Orlando, maybe some hearts were opened, you know? And I don't know if that's something that has to do with us as humans. Do we have to have tragedy before we open our hearts? I hope not. Maybe we can open our hearts more spontaneously, just
how about willingly? How about willingly?
Yes,
how about just
willingly.
because?
Just
right?
Because we're humans and we have a mutual respect for each other.
Really? Yes. And so I'm sharing this because, you know, we've gone on a little bit of a roller coaster ride today, right? Here on the show. And then your story loans itself to being a roller coaster ride that is based in the Bronx, which is beautiful because you're highlighting the place that kind of made you in a sense.
Right.
And it was different than what it is now, but yet it's still your home.
Correct.
Or your origins. Right. And having come from a mixed upbringing, at this day and age, you would think that we've moved on from that. And so I just wonder, like in reading your book, would it loan itself to moving us past that?
It might. And I've pondered this actually because I wonder what the difference is. Sometimes, for me, what really opened my heart was the struggle for social justice ultimately. There was some place where I could find meaning in my life. There was no meaning in heroin. There was no meaning in drinking. And I wonder today, and I teach at a college, I wonder where is the meaning? You know, where is the larger meaning to compel people to a different vision of who they could be and who they are? And I wonder, I think that's a missing piece. The meaning, if it's there, it seems to be fragmented or it's isolated over here and these people don't know about it. I mean, one of the great things about the 60s was everything was in upheaval. Everything was open to question. Nobody was afraid to question.
Right.
And I don't think we haven't rediscovered that yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a Four Agreements fan.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite books of all times, and the domestication in which that's being exercised right now is really, really, really scary. It's really, really, and I mean domestication just from the actual implications that are being made, or just even the sensationalizing that's going on through the media, because we tend to pay attention to that, and then now we have this other platform, the social media platform, which now you have access to like millions of points of views, right. and just the way we're communicating is kind of like, it's nice to have just the old-fashioned way of coming to your own conclusion, really is what I'm getting at in this whole conversation.
I think domestication's a great word, right? We're being tamed and we're being distracted in ways that are unhelpful and not good for our spirit, not good for our hearts, and the word you used earlier, not good for love and our humanity.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight, and thank you for writing this wonderful book that I'm really looking forward to reading. I love the fact that there's you come from an authentic place of being truthful.
Okay.
Me personally, I acknowledge that, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this. And where can people find it?
www.the-rail.net, my website. Yeah. And I'm going to be speaking in Vladeck Hall, 74 Van Cortlandt Park South on Sunday at 5. I'm going back to the old neighborhood to do a book reading and a book signing, so everybody's welcome.
Oh, nice. And that information's on your website as well?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Tommy.
My pleasure.
Tommy Donovan, Dr. Tom is really what
Enjoy the book, Rena.
Yeah, wait, don't go anywhere. Not just yet, not just yet. Plus, you got to sign my book.
I did.
All right. Once again, for more information on Tommy Donovan and his book, The Rail, go to therail.net. All right, don't go anywhere. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Okay.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Let's begin our look at sports on the NBA hardwood, where the league's draft went down Thursday night in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. The New York Knicks, without a pick, made a huge splash the day before the draft. More on that later. And the host Nets came away with a couple of nice draft choices in GM Sean Marks' first draft and rebuild of the franchise. The Nets dealt Thaddeus Young early Thursday to Indiana for the draft rights to the number 20 pick. That pick became Michigan's Karis LeVert, who may have been the best dressed on draft night, sporting a Michigan yellow and navy two-tone colored suit. Nice. LeVert is coming off foot surgery, and that's the only reason why his stock was down. The Nets weren't done making moves either. In the second round, they swapped picks after drafting North Carolina's Marcus Page and came away with Brooklyn native Isaiah Whitehead. Page went to the Utah Jazz, while Whitehead, a star at Seton Hall that led the Pirates to the Big East championship, is bound for the Big Apple. The top 3 picks in the draft are as follows. LSU power forward Ben Simmons, as expected, went number 1 to Philadelphia. Duke small forward Brandon Ingram went second to the LA Lakers, and small forward Jaylen Brown of California went third to Boston. The biggest deal of draft night belonged to Oklahoma City, which dealt defensive stalwart Serge Ibaka and players to Orlando for a package that includes rising guard Victor Oladipo. While that move was the biggest from Thursday night, the pre-draft buzz Wednesday belonged to the New York Knicks, who acquired oft-injured and former MVP Derrick Rose from Chicago for center Robin Lopez and guards Jose Calderon and Jaren Grant. They also received Justin Holiday and a 2017 second-round pick in the deal. I would say low risk for the most part, high reward for the Knicks, especially if Rose can be even 75% of the point guard he once was. Knicks president Phil Jackson informed Rose that the franchise would pursue OKC star Kevin Durant in free agency, but the draft night deal for the Thunder should be enough to keep Durant in OKC. The Knicks are also rumored players for big men Dwight Howard, Joakim Noah, and Pau Gasol. I would expect Noah, a New York native and former Bulls teammate of Rose, to be the top target of that group. The Knicks may also look to veteran Kevin Martin, most recently of San Antonio, to fill their shooting guard needs. Here in the Bronx, basketball is flourishing at Orchard Beach. The Hoops in the Sun Roundball Classic, celebrating 17 years of community hoops, kick-started their season in early June and always takes a lot of pride in the action on Father's Day, thanks to their late founder, Pops Cruz. Here's more with his sons, Joe Jr. and Randy. Friends for so long, it's hard to believe that it's been 17 years of Hoops in the Sun, but it has been. I mean, you guys have been able to keep this rolling year after year in memory of your father. What is it like to celebrate year number 17?
It's great. My dad passed away back in 2004, and my brother and I contemplated on continuing the league, and I think we were in league year 8 or 7 by that time, and just providing a strategic and competitive division and league for so long, and just give it back to the community. And the fans are here every weekend.
I think my dad be proud, man. I think we've grown in this situation. We've been at the helm for almost 12 years since his passing, and I think that we've been able to really execute our dream and really add more games and more teams to our youth division. We added a 19U division. We still able to maintain our girls division and also prominent our men's division. So he'll be proud. I don't think he can handle it the way we are, And I say that with all due respect, but I know that his legacy lives within my brother and I.
The vision now moving forward for the tournament in the next 20 years.
The vision is for us moving forward is to rebuild these courts and put new basketball sanctions. We would like to take these courts over here and also build upon that and eventually become an AAU program, also my dad's name, and also continue to strive in opening my own rec center in his name and kind of really continue to live on my dad's legacy with his name and his efforts here at Orchard Beach.
Congrats to Hits on 17 seasons in the Bronx. For more on the league, visit hoopsinthesun.net. On the baseball diamond, the New York Mets had plenty to celebrate Wednesday, taking 2 from the reigning champion Kansas City Royals in consecutive days in a World Series rematch. The Amazons won the opener 2-1 and followed that with a 4-3 come-from-behind victory Wednesday afternoon that included a huge day for shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera and the first home run of Matt Reynolds' career. Here's more.
A little surprised, but you know, I believe in my ability, and I believe that I can play almost any position on the field. And you know, I went out there, and you know, I didn't really have too many plays that tested me today, but you know, I felt very comfortable.
Offensive troubles, but you guys show that you can grind out another win today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a long season. We gotta up and down, you know, and we gotta keep doing what we're doing. I know the last few weeks we don't do really well, but we gotta forget about it. We gotta keep working hard and try to get the win.
The Mets were trying to make it 3 straight Thursday in their series opener in Atlanta with the Braves, but Adonis Garcia hit a go-ahead 2-run homer off Addison Reed in the 8th inning that propelled the Braves to a 4-3 win. Atlanta has beaten the Mets 4 times since sweeping them at Citi Field last weekend. That series continues this weekend in Atlanta. On a side note, expect the Mets to be the one team to sign former shortstop star Jose Reyes. Reyes, recently released from Colorado following an arrest for assaulting his wife in Hawaii, will become a free agent Saturday. The Mets seem to view Reyes as a possible utility player who could play short, second, and third. Could be rejoining the Mets very soon. The Yankees had an off day Thursday, but we got a chance to catch up with the club on Tuesday against the Rockies. The Bombers dropped that game 8-4, but vowed to wrap the series on a strong note Wednesday. First, here's more from Tuesday night. This is Bobby C. at Yankee Stadium, where the New York Yankees opened up a 9-game homestand on Tuesday night against the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies lineup continued to show its prowess against the Bronx Bombers. Yankee starter Ivan Nova took the loss in an 8-4 defeat. We talked to him after the game about an early struggle in the first inning.
It's not what you want to do, for sure, but you got to keep your head up and keep working. This is not the first time that I go through a stretch like that, and you just got to find a way to get through this, and hopefully next start is the start of something good for me. Yankees veteran Carlos Beltran talked about the team's struggles with trying to get back to 500.
We have been able to put good stretches, and when we feel that we're about to continue to play well, all of a sudden we fall back. So, but you know what? We need to continue to fight. That's the attitude here. And try to make it to 500 and above that.
Rockies leadoff hitter Charlie Blackmon paced the lineup. He had 2 home runs on the night, including a leadoff home run against Nova in the first.
When you come out and you have to work that hard to get through the first 3 outs, I think it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game that it's not going to be easy and you're not going to get any easy outs. So I think doing that early, especially first game of a series, can go a long way.
All-star Carlos Gonzalez said the Yankees just bring out the best in the Rockies.
You see all the championships around and all the great players that represent the organization. It's just it gives you a little boost. So it's good. It's good to put good numbers, obviously against any team. But whenever things work for you, you take it.
The Bombers did show signs of life Wednesday afternoon, performing as the Mets did in come-from-behind fashion in a back-and-forth affair that started with a Chase Headley grand slam and Colorado running off 8 straight runs. The Yankees had the final say behind a 3-run homer from Carlos Beltran and a walk-off home run from Starlin Castro in the 9th. The Yanks won 9-8 and will now wrap the weekend with 3 against the Minnesota Twins starting tonight. Tonight is Mickey Mantle Triple Crown bobblehead night at the stadium. The Pinstripers are also expecting first baseman Mark Teixeira back from injury on Saturday. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. The NHL draft begins tonight. Coverage can be seen on NBCSN at 7 p.m. Rounds 2 through 7 are Saturday. Rumors have the New York Islanders possibly moving a pick to bolster their roster, while most reports indicate that the New York Rangers won't discount players to pull off any deals. The Broadway Blue Shirts did deal Keith Yondel's rights to Florida. He then signed with the Panthers to a reported 7-year deal. In soccer, the Copa America Championship is Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It will feature Argentina and Chile at 8 p.m. The third place game will take place Saturday in Glendale, Arizona, where the USA will face Colombia at 8 p.m. In the MLS, NYCFC is now 5-5 and third in the East behind Philadelphia and the Red Bulls, respectively. The Red Bulls are 7-8. NYCFC has Seattle next, while the Red Bulls will face Columbus next. Both road games are set for Saturday night. New York City gets underway at 5 p.m. The Red Bulls will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. On the WNBA hardwood, New York native Tina Charles has been electric. The standout has the Liberty atop the East standings at 9-4. First place New York will host Chicago tonight and Phoenix on Sunday. On the links, Dustin Johnson, not my pick of Phil Mickelson, is your U.S. Open winner. Those are the headlines from one failed prediction to one successful one that I am very proud of. Let's hit the C list. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers brought home the NBA championship Sunday night in arguably the greatest Game 7 ever. In the process, James delivered on his vow to bring the NBA crown to his home state. The King was named MVP in the stunning and thrilling 93-89 final over the defending champion Golden State Warriors, who edged the Cavs in last year's finals. Cleveland was without injured stars Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving last year, but this year the duo along with James was enough to stage the first ever down 3-1 come-from-behind series victor. No team had ever rebounded from a 3-1 deficit in the NBA Finals, and by doing so, the Cavs ended a 52-year major sports championship drought in Cleveland, and more importantly, rung my prediction true. And come to think about it, that's all the motivation that LeBron really needed. You're welcome, Cleveland. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. Our final guest today is an empowering woman who has done everything from acting in movies and TV shows to writing a successful book and hosting her own radio and TV shows. As a licensed psychotherapist, she has her own private practice and has worked towards helping many individuals. And joining us now to share more about her career, please welcome Alexa Servodidio.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for being here with us, and I pronounced your last name correct, right?
Perfectly.
All right,
Yes.
we got off to a good start. I didn't want to mess that up. But thank you so much for being here. And as you can see, the show's theme has somehow loaned itself to humanity, and I guess there's a consciousness that's in the air based on what's happened, and just even I think our our potential elected individuals, you know, our presidential candidates. Yeah, and so I just the whole everything that's going on, it seems chaotic, and that's what this is leading up to. It's like there's a lot of noise going on, and so you wrote this fabulous book called "Finding Your Place," finding your peace within chaos, and that sounds a lot easier said than done.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. And my whole mission for this book, I think also with my private practice, working with individuals and also on my show, is to be able to provide hope for people, a platform. Every day with my work, with working with clients, yes, there's a lot of trauma and horrific events, but I really see the beauty in people. I really see their strength. I really see people coming back from trauma and horrific events and really working hard in their resilience. And I think that really needs to be spotlighted. That really needs their progress, their work for people, because I think the world really needs that encouragement. And just sitting here watching all your past guests and listening to what you were saying was it's like, this is exactly where I need to be.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. I'm ready to look in the mirror. And so I'm like, let's go. Yes, this is really exciting because, again, going back to the consciousness, right? And then we speak our truth, right? We speak into our truth. And so going back to my previous segment where I was referencing the sensationalizing that's going on throughout the media and how everything that's being focused on is negative, 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 negative. And I don't know, I don't know if people are even aware of that just from a conscious level of understanding that even, let's say, the presidential candidates, for example, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. There's an attention being given to particular individuals, and with that comes a growth. There's it's almost like building a monster, it's applicable to life, right? It's whatever you focus on is what you're going to become.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes. And I wish so many people would, as a therapist, going to school as a social worker, we've learned to not be judgmental, not to let our own personal beliefs or how we were brought up interfere with working with clients. And I feel that is so needed in this world. We can all have different views on things. We can all come from different races, but to kind of embrace it all, be tolerant, and don't have to judge. You don't always have to make a comment. Keep certain things to yourself and just be open with people and being accepting. I think is just so important to be able to hear other people.
Right. And just going back to the conversation that I also referenced with Victor, we need a lot of help in the mental health department, right? Because you can't really not walk around being non-judgmental if you're being judgmental of your own self.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it really begins. Right? I've even questioned, and please don't quote me on this, but that person who, it's just something I'm sharing that's I've actually thought about. It's like the person who went and just, killed all those people. Was he in denial about something? It's just something that crossed my mind. It's like, why did he do that? Right? Yes. And so just in questioning that, I go, and this is the human side of me analyzing it, if he was content with himself, granted, they want to say, oh, this was an order, it's organized, and it's, you have to be in a certain state of mind in order to do that, and it really comes from self.
Yes, yes. And I think each individual is responsible for their own actions and their own thoughts and their own behaviors. Yes, we can be influenced by the society or beliefs or religion, but I think it's also saying what was going on with that individual that he was so open to that violence, to that hatred. And I think getting down to really the core that each person is so different, what their struggle is, what they need to be working on, and to kind of look at that and look at the mental health issue, because there is a certain mindset that is able to maybe want to be in a community like that, or to feel like they're belonged, or to make such a statement of such anger and hatred.
Right, and so just going back to your book and finding peace in chaos, right? Being a New Yorker, living in New York, there's a lot of noise. There's a certain pace we move at, right? I personally am a meditator. I meditate, right? And that's how I'm able to find balance. Does it, slow me down? No, I wish it did. But, no, seriously, it's like, does it slow me down? No, it doesn't. But it allows me to find balance. And so I think we're imbalanced right now on a really severe, tipped over scale. And I mean as a whole, the United States specifically. I don't really want to speak about the other side of the world because I don't really know their relation. I just know what we're going through, and it's really, it's serious. It's serious. And I'm bringing it up because the contribution that we all can actually contribute is to work on self.
Yes, yes, which is so important. I think so many times we're taught that selfish, don't pay attention to yourself. But self-care is so important. It's not about being selfish. It's about taking care of yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and feeding yourself with healthy things. I have a very strong belief in God, so my calminess is going to church, reading Bible verses, going to the gym. But I think it's being able to find those times, those quiet times, even if it's for a minute or a couple of seconds. We all need that because there's always something that we could be worrying about. There's always, unfortunately, criticism and these horrific things going on in the world. But to be able to find that peace within the chaos, if you're taking care of a sick one, if you're in an abusive relationship, or if you have an illness, you deserve that for yourself, to find that laughter, to see that beauty in a child or a butterfly, and just sit with that, because that kind of what gets you through the day and gets you through life.
So in reading your book, because again, I didn't receive her book prior to the show, but I'm happy to have a copy that I think you're going to sign for me as well, right?
Yes, of course.
So what should people expect in it's a small read, I see it's a short book, so is it a self-help book?
What it is, it's based on my radio show, Insight into Healing, and what it is, it's different questions that I had from listeners. So the topics will range from anxiety to domestic violence to couples therapy to the heroin epidemic to also really influential people who have given back. Chapter 11 is about a colleague of mine who is a suicide attempt survivor. And now Greg Loomis is head of a big suicide prevention board. He was just at the White House promoting stuff for mental health, and it's so incredible. So I have all those different types of questions with answers, but also for people who may not be experienced in the mental health field or exposed to it themselves, maybe experience something, their children or a loved one. There are tools and kind of guidelines for them to deal with if they feel their teen might be suicidal, cutting versus suicide, maybe bullying in school, to if someone might be having borderline personality or bipolar disorder. And at each chapter at the end, I do a journaling exercise. And it's not homework, it's not going to be long paragraphs, but what it is, it's just opening up the discussion about yourself. Who are important people in your life? What has made you, excited about life? Kind of helping other people. And I always find paying it forward and giving back to society really it's part of my life, and it's what my book and my practice is about.
It's what we all should practice. And thank you so much for coming here and sharing it with us. Thank you for writing this book. I love the fact that your intent is to open up the communication, because that's where the health actually begins. It's the communication.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Alexa.
Thank you so much for having me.
And do you have any last words? They're wrapping us up, and they're like, we gotta go, we gotta go.
I just really hope everybody finds their peace within the chaos, and to really, make sure they take care of themselves and keep working on themselves.
Thank you. Thank you once again. Once again, for more on Alexa Servodirio, you can visit her website at alexaservodirio.com. And that is our show, mi gente. I know you guys didn't want to go, because I didn't want to go today either, but that is our show today. And thanks to all our guests and for coming through, and to you for tuning in. And don't forget, if you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recapcast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. And once again, I'm Rina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Mwah. Adios, everyone.